This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. We've been cranking out a whole ton of content here on Dolany TV as we get set for August 1st versus the Chicago Blackhawks, the play-in. What I actually did a little research into last night, I checked in how that scheduled live stream for August 1st starting at 12:30 p.m. is going. 7 likes already on the stream, so we're not going to have a problem hitting 20 likes in the first 5 minutes of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. The stream is going to be popping off, that is for sure. It's going to be a huge live stream August 1st, and if you're not already thinking about being there, hit that subscribe button. If you're new, go get your reminder, whatever you have to do to be there August 1st, because we're going to celebrate the return of Oilers playoff hockey all together, all in the chat, all live at once, watching real-time Oilers hockey. But before we do that, for those of you that have been saying, my friends, the lines are going to change in training camp, don't you worry, something's going to happen, something's going to change. You know what, it did today. Ennis and Athanasiou flipped some roles around, and of course Nugent Hopkins staying on that top line. So it was Ennis with Draisaitl and Yamamoto today, while Double A played with Sheehan and Archibald. A line I think a lot of us would be very, very comfortable with, having Double A with Sheehan and Archibald. That would be a speedy, skillful, kind of shut it down, score it up, third line. And of course Ennis with Draisaitl and Yamamoto. That's about as good as it can get without having, of course, Nugent Hopkins on there. So, where am I getting these updates? Of course, I like to give the attribution to Reed Wilkins, at Reed Wilkins. He's a 630 Ched guy. If you don't know who Reed Wilkins is, I'm sorry you're missing out. The guy is stellar for Oilers coverage, and he has kind of the play-by-play of the day. So, obviously, the first goal of the game went off to Team Blue, the scrimmage today, off a tip and scramble in front of Koskinen. Then McDavid storms in and makes it 2-0. McDavid looks, you know, that movie Pulled Against Calgary, what was it, January 11th? Yeah, it would have been the January 11th game before anyone could really sit down in their seats. I think 3 of my friends just sat down. They're like, oh man, I want to see a McDavid goal first thing. All of a sudden, all you see is McDavid going down the ice and bang, back in the net on that rush forehand, flip it kind of far side on the goalie. Even though he cut in short side, he made far side short side, if that may, or short side far side, by cutting across the goalie and scoring that beautiful goal. So the top 3 lines are on blue for your reference, and D are Clefbaum, Larson, Russell, Benning, Legason, and Smith was in goal for blue. Everyone else on white. Maruti from Benson puts white on the board. Period 2 about to start. Wells in goal for blue, and Skinner in for white. Chase on scores for white, 2-2. And then tied after 2, so the third frame serves as overtime. And well, in overtime for Team Blue, it was Kailer Yamamoto getting the goal, and that is, well, good news for us, right? Kailer Yamamoto doing some stuff, and you see the credits going here, right? Obviously, nobody credited with that first goal. Chase on getting one for Team White. You got Maruti scoring one for Team White, right? So the kid line, and of course, then you've got the fourth line chipping in the goals for Team White, but that's about the way it goes when the top 3 lines are on Team Blue. But it's nice to see back and forth these guys scrimmaging and scoring goals. However, right, period 2, yeah, Chase on scoring on Stuart Skinner, so not the most, or pardon me, Dylan Wells, so not the most elite goaltending competition for Chase on to score on, but that still said, scoring goals and of course doing some stuff here in training camp is huge. And the other side too, Kailer Yamamoto getting the winner in overtime. That's probably about the second time I want to say I've heard Kailer Yamamoto's name scoring a goal in this training camp. So it's just nice to see our guys getting back, getting the rhythm, scoring against goalies, and doing stuff on the ice. Speaking of doing stuff on the ice, you may have also seen a tweet recently this afternoon from Gene Principe. Oh yes, Gene Principe is in the building, and he is watching those Edmonton Oilers, talking about things here. And well, what he's got is from the right side dot, like if you're looking at the net, Connor McDavid's on the right side taking one-timers, and that's something you don't often see Connor do. I know when he does, it's pretty effective normally, but Connor McDavid taking just a couple one-timers from dot to high circle and trying to get a feel for it, I guess you could say. But Gene Principe notes he doesn't normally take that many slap shots, but that could change, especially on the power play. So you imagine you've got Leon Draisaitl, backdoor, tip-tap, back of the net option available to you all the time. That's a Leon Draisaitl special on the old power play. But then you've got Connor McDavid, the NHL's best player, one time in the puck on the power play as well. I'm sorry. I know I complain about the power play being out there a minute and a half usually before they go for a line change. We won't have to worry about that. You got those options plus a Nugent Hopkins on the ice and Alex Chase on to clean up the garbage in front, or James Neal. They'll be out there about 40 seconds at most, and about 75% of the time, they'll have a goal if that Connor McDavid one-timer turns out to be a legit weapon like some other guys in the NHL. So, we'll just not worry about it. You know what, honestly, 40 seconds on the power play, goal 75% of the time, and then of course hopefully you change up the power play time to allow the second unit some time to roll as well, because we got options on a second power play unit now. I am going to be good and dandy, that is for sure. No problem about it. It is good to go. So, you know what? Good day at training camp, I think. And honestly, right? Everybody got their changes when it comes to lines. Everybody got to see a change in camp. I know through the first few days it seemed like it's going to stick all the way through. Now something's changed, but realistically, Ennis for Athanasiou is the only flip you see, so nothing major. You know that Skinner and Wells got some time in this scrimmage game. That's huge as well. I mean, not really, I think, determining the fact that Skinner's going to by necessarily not be the third goalie. I think Dylan Wells will definitely be the cut from the team still. But, right, there's intrigue still going on, and you see Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith getting the starts for both sides and doing what they did. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we are just another day closer to Edmonton Oilers hockey live on our television sets, meaning something, right? Obviously, yes, the exhibition game July 28th against the Calgary Flames will be live. It'll be on TV. It'll be fun to watch, all that good dandy stuff, but it won't mean anything, right? Chicago, August 1st, 1 p.m., that means something to us. And it's going to be a weird situation, but you know what, all around, it's just nice to get back to the normal routine, right? Obviously, like you've seen what I've done through quarantine when it comes to doing videos. Not very much activity, realistically, and here we are now all of a sudden getting back into the groove and 2 to 3 videos a day, and that feels good, because let me tell you, my weekends used to be very boring without hockey. Now they're very boring with hockey, but at least I have something to kill 30 to 40 minutes of my day with every single weekend, because there is Edmonton Oilers hockey to talk about. So ladies and gentlemen, I guess the closing point would be, I just want to check if Jack Michaels tweeted something, because I feel like he did. And I am missing one thing huge that I have to mention before I get out of here, but Jack Michaels, one tweet in the last hour. Yes, alright, that is what I wanted to make sure. It's also been evident every day that Connor McDavid hasn't forgotten how to be Connor McDavid. Jack Michaels, in reference to that Connor McDavid goal that I talked about for Team Blue in the scrimmage today. However, you know what, we'll spend the next minute or so talking about the fact that it's been exactly 1 year since Ken Holland pulled off the impossible and endeared himself to Edmonton Oilers fans like that. The Milan Lucic and a conditional third-round pick to Calgary for James Neal. And here we are talking about James Neal being one of the key pieces on an incredible fourth line in the NHL playoffs. And I mean, realistically, right? Lucic, no better comparison when he was on the Oilers the last few games of the season playing bottom 6 minutes, right? But James Neal, a much better weapon. James Neal, still just as physical as Milan Lucic can be when James Neal is using the body. But James Neal, that scoring touch, that ability around the net is what we didn't have in Milan Lucic when we traded Milan Lucic, and it's what we gained when we acquired James Neal, but the only thing everybody was worried about is he burns out come playoff time. Guess what? He's had 4 months off to rest. So you're kidding me. If James Neal, with all that time off to rest before playoffs, isn't absolutely ready to go come August 1st against the Chicago Blackhawks. But an interesting little anniversary here in it. So guys, I'm Tyson, this is Stolany TV. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's afternoon edition. Probably the last thing we have to talk about today, but I'll keep in touch if there is anything else. I am up on out of here.